One Body Audio Theater presents The Mystery of the Blue Cross by G.K. Chesterton.
Excuse me? Excuse me? Pardon? Father? Is this seat taken?
Oh, no. Please sit down. Oh, no, not there. Sorry. That's a very important package. A terribly old silver cross with sapphires in it. It's a very precious thing and a great secret, and so, of course, I simply cannot have it sat upon.
Oh, of course not. But if this is secret, may I suggest that you might take better care of it by telling me less about it?
No doubt you're right.
Are you going to Harwick?
Why, yes. Are you?
I am.
Are you going to the Eucharistic Congress as well?
Only if I have to.
Well, it should be most interesting. I'm to present my cross there.
Best to keep it safe until then.
Yes, indeed. Well, it was lovely to meet you.
You as well. And enjoy your conference.
Oh, I shall. Thank you.
All right, Flambeau, where are you?
Detective Valentin! Detective Valentin! Officer Valentin, sir?
Oui, I am Valentin.
Officer Hobbson, Scotland Yard sent me. I'm to assist you in finding the nefarious Monsieur Flambeau.
Keep your voice down! You want him to hear you?
Do you think he's here at the train station?
He could be. He is a master of disguise, you know. The only thing he cannot disguise is his unusual height. If I saw a tall apple woman, a tall grenadier, or even a tolerably tall duchess, I might arrest them on the spot. But no one here is tall enough. I see nobody here who could be a disguised Flambeau any more than a cat could be a disguised giraffe.
I see. So that wasn't him you were talking to as you got off the train.
That little priest, no. He hardly knew which end of his ticket was the right one.
Ah, well, then where do we start?
You know, Hobbson, the most incredible thing about miracles is that they happen. A tree grows into the exact shape of a question mark. Nelson does die in the instant of victory. A man named Williams does quite accidentally murder a man named Williamson. In short, there is in life an element of coincidence, which people reckoning on the prosaic may perpetually miss.
What's that, sir?
It's like this, Hobbson. People say to me, they say, Arrested Valentin, how do you manage to capture criminals with nothing to go on at all? And I will tell you, all my success has been gained by plodding logic, by clear and commonplace French thought.
I don't follow you, sir.
I will explain. Regard, I have Miss Flambeau at Harwick, and if he was in London at all, he might be anything from a tall tramp on Wimbledon Common to a tall toastmaster at the Hotel Metropole. As we have no way of knowing, we must reckon on the unforeseen. In such cases where we cannot follow the train of the reasonable, we must coldly and carefully follow the train of the unreasonable.
I'm sorry?
Instead of going to the right places, banks, police stations, hideouts, we shall systematically go to the wrong places. We must knock at every empty house, turn down every cul-de-sac, go up every lane blocked with rubbish.
But, sir...
No, listen to me. If we had a clue, this would be the worst way to proceed, but since we have no clue at all, it is the best. Because there is just the chance that any oddity that catches my eye might be the same that has caught the eye of the criminal.
But, sir, it seems to me...
Somewhere a man must begin, and it had better be just where another man might stop.
All right, you are in charge of the investigation.
Indeed. Let us begin. Where to start? Aha! Right there!
What, that little cafe?
Exactly. The yellow awnings, the chairs placed outside, it's so un-English. It catches my eye. It is the beginning of some. Come on, vite! Two black coffees, s'il vous plaît.
Coffee? Do we have time for...
Right away, sir. Please sit.
Elsie, keeps the change.
With all due respect, sir, do we really have time for this?
Shh. We must think. We must observe.
Your coffees, gentlemen.
Merci.
What are we doing here, sir? I don't understand.
Relax. Drink your coffee. If this is the right track, we will know.
Whatever you say, sir.
Ah, sacre bleu! What is this?
Sir?
Ah, salt in the sugar cellar. Sugar in the salt cellar. You see, Hobbson, the criminal is a creative artist. The detective, only a critic.
I'm still not...
This is the trail, Hobbson. Observe. Barista,
Si, signore.
kindly taste this sugar.
Certo. Bah! Che diavolo!
Do you play this delicate joke on your customers every morning? Does changing the salt and sugar never become somewhat stale to you?
Forgive me, signore. It must have been those clergymen.
Clergymen?
Yes, the two clergymen. The ones who threw the soup at the wall.
Threw soup at the wall? Is that some kind of Italian metaphor?
No. They took my soup and they threw it over there, on the wall.
Ah, see the dark patch there.
Si, signore, it's quite true. Two clergymen came in and drank soup here very early, as soon as the shutters came down. They were both very quiet, respectable people. One of them paid the bill and went out. The other was some minutes longer, getting his things together. But he went at last. Only the instant before he left the shop, he deliberately picked up his cup, which he had only half emptied, and threw the soup slap onto the wall.
Oh, my.
Oh, I was in the back room myself, so I could only rush out in time to see the wall splashed and the shop empty. I rushed out and tried to catch the men in the street, but it was too late. They were too far off. I only noticed they went around the next corner into Carstairs Street.
This is it, Hobbson. This is our clue. Let us go to Carstairs Street.
Sir, what are we looking for now?
Something odd. Something out of the ordinary. Something like... Wait!
Oh,
Look up some. Finest oranges. 2 a penny. Brazil nuts. 10 pence a pound.
what about it, sir?
Look again up some.
Oh, I see it. The sign for the oranges is on the nuts, and the sign for the Brazil nuts...
Is on the oranges. Another clue. What we must ask ourselves is this. What is the mystical association which connects the idea of nuts marked as oranges with the idea of 2 clergymen, one tall and the other short?
Here's the proprietor.
Good lady. Regard, your produce seems to be mismatched.
What's that, sir? Oh, they'll ruin me, the villains. If you're one of their friends, you can tell them maybe that I'll knock their silly heads off. Parsons or no Parsons, if they upset me apples again.
Indeed. And did they upset your apples?
One of them did. Rolled them all over the street. I'd have caught the fool, but for having to pick up my produce.
Which way did these Parsons go?
They took one of them yellow bus over there. Ones that go to...
Here comes another bus now. Allons-y.
We could go 4 times as quick in a taxi.
Quite true. If we only had an idea of where we were going.
I still question this method of yours, Valentin.
If you know what a man's doing, you get in front of him. But if you want to guess what he's doing, you keep behind him. You stray when he strays, you stop when he stops, you travel as slowly as he. Then you may see what he saw, and may act as he acted. All we can do is to keep our eyes peeled for strange things.
Any sort of strange things?
Indeed. Aha! Our clue at last!
Where?
There. The place with the broken window.
But sir, what proof is that this has anything to do with Flambeau?
The man is looking for proof? Why, of course, the chances are 20 to 1 that it has nothing to do with him. But what else can we do? Don't you see one must either follow one wild possibility or else go home to bed empty-handed? Now come along. Got your window broken, I see.
Yes, sir.
I said, got your window broken, did you?
Yes, sir. That was a very odd thing, sir.
Indeed. Tell us about it. It will be worth your while.
Well, 2 gents in black came in. 2 of those foreign parsons that are running about for that conference. They had a cheap and quiet little lunch, and one of them paid for it and went out. The other was just going out to join him when I looked at my change again and found he paid me more than 3 times too much. Here, I says to the chap, who is nearly out the door, you've paid too much. Oh, he says, very calmly, have we? Yes, I says, and picks up the bill to show him. Well, that was a knockout.
What do you mean?
Well, I'd have sworn on 7 Bibles that I'd put £4 on that bill. But now I saw I put £14, as plain as paint.
Well, and then?
The parson at the doors, he says, all serene. Sorry to confuse your accounts, but it'll pay for the window. What window? I says. The one I'm going to break, he says, and smash that blessed pane with his umbrella.
Are we after escaped lunatics?
I was so knocked silly for a second, I couldn't do anything. The man marched out of the place and joined his friend just around the corner. Then they went up so quickly up to Bullock Street that I couldn't catch them.
Bullock Street. Thank you. For your trouble. Think, Hobbson. What would catch his eye?
I haven't the slightest... hello? What's this?
What is it?
Well, this little post office. It's right around the corner from the restaurant.
Ah, I see. If the police stopped in here, the waiter would not see them. Good work, Hobbson. Let us go in.
If you've come about that parcel, I've sent it off already.
Parcel?
I mean the parcel those religious gentlemen left. The religious gentlemen.
Oh, for goodness sake, for heaven's sake, tell us exactly what happened.
Well, the clerk clergyman came in about half an hour ago and bought some stamps and talked a bit, and then went off towards the heath outside of town. But a second after, one of them runs back into the shop and says, "Have I left a parcel?" Well, I looked everywhere but couldn't see one. So he says, "Never mind, but if it should turn up, please post it to this address." And he left me the address and a shilling for me trouble. And sure enough, though I thought I looked everywhere, I found he'd left a brown paper parcel. So I posted it to the place he said. I can't remember the address now. It was somewhere in Westminster.
Is Hampstead Heath near here?
Straight on for 15 minutes and you'll come right out on the open grass.
Quick, Hobbson. We have no time to lose.
Are you sure about this, sir? There's no one out here, and it's getting dark.
Oh, but there is someone. Look.
I don't... no, wait. You're right. I can just make him out.
There are two of them, sitting on that little hill. Now keep quiet. Let us get as close as we can.
You see, that's what they really meant in the Middle Ages by the heavens being incorruptible.
Sacre bleu! The little boys from the train station.
Yes, these modern infidels appeal to their reason, but who can look at those millions of worlds above us and not feel like there may well be wonderful universes where reason is utterly unreasonable?
No. Reason is always reasonable, even in the last limbo, in the lost borderland of things. I know that people charge the church with undervaluing reason, but it is just the other way around. Alone on earth, the church makes reason really supreme. Alone on earth, the church affirms that God himself is bound by reason.
Yet who knows if in this infinite universe that they may not...
Only infinite physically, not infinite in the sense of escaping from the laws of truth.
This is all the metaphysical gossip of two mild old parsons. I think we might have wasted our time, sir.
Just a few minutes more.
Reason and justice grip the remotest and the loneliest star. Look at those stars. Don't they look as if they were single diamonds and sapphires? Well, you can imagine any mad botany or geology you please. Think of forests of gold with leaves of diamonds. Think of the moon, that it is a blue moon, a single elephantine sapphire. But don't fancy that all that frantic astronomy would make the smallest difference to the reason and justice of a man's conduct. On plains of opal, under cliffs cut out of pearl, you will still find a notice board. Thou shalt not steal.
Well, I think that other worlds may perhaps rise higher than our reason. The mystery of heaven is unfathomable, and I for one, can only bow my head.
Perhaps you are right, Hobbson. Let's go.
Now, just hand over the sapphire cross, will you? We are all alone out here, and I can pull you to pieces like a straw doll if you don't.
Sir!
Yes, yes, I am Flambeau. Come, will you give me that cross?
No.
No? You won't give it to me, you proud prelate? You won't give it to me, you little celibate simpleton? Shall I tell you why you won't give it to me? Because I've already got it in my breast pocket.
Are you sure?
Really? You're as good as a comedy show. As good as a comedy show. Yes, you turnip. I am quite sure. I had the sense to make a duplicate of the right parcel, and now, my friend, you've got the duplicate, and I've got the jewels. An old dodge, Father Brown. A very old dodge.
Yes, it is. I've heard of it before.
What? Where have you heard of it?
Well, I mustn't tell you his name, of course. He was a penitent, you know. He had lived prosperously for about 20 years entirely on duplicate brown paper parcels. And so, you see, when I began to suspect you, I thought of this poor chap's way of doing it at once.
Began to suspect me? Do you really have the gumption to suspect me just because I brought you up to this bare part of the heath?
No. You see, I suspected you when we first met. It's that little bulge up your sleeve where you keep your spiked bracelet.
How in the world have you heard of the spiked bracelet?
One's little flock, you know. When I was a curate for the prison, there were 3 of them with spiked bracelets. So I suspected you from the first, don't you see? I made sure that the cross should be safe anyhow. I'm afraid I watched you, you know. So at last I saw you change the parcels. Then, don't you see, I changed them back again. And then I left the right one behind.
Left it behind?
Well, it was like this. I went back to that post office and asked if I'd left a parcel, and gave them a particular address if it turned up. Well, I knew I hadn't, but when I went away again, I did leave one. So instead of running after me with that valuable parcel, they have sent it flying to a friend of mine in Westminster. I'm afraid that all you've got there is your own fake parcel.
I don't believe you. I don't believe a bumpkin like you could manage all that. I think you still got the cross on you. And if you don't give it to up now, why, we're all alone. And I'll take it by force.
No, you won't take it by force. First, because I really haven't still got it. And second, because we are not all alone.
What?
Behind that tree are 2 strong policemen. One of them is the greatest detective alive. How did they come here, do you ask? Why, I brought them, of course. How did I do it? Well, I'll tell you if you like. Lord bless you, we have to know 20 such things when we work among the criminal classes. Well, I wasn't sure you were a thief, and it would never do to make a scandal against one of my own clergy. So I just tested you to see if anything would make you show yourself. A man generally makes a small scene if he finds salt in his coffee. If he doesn't, he has some reason for keeping quiet. I changed the salt and the sugar, and you kept quiet. A man generally objects if his bill is 3 times too big. If he pays it, he has some motive for passing unnoticed. I altered the bill, and you paid it.
Why, you...
Well, as you wouldn't leave any tracks for the police, of course somebody had to. At every place we went to, I took care to do something that would get us talked about for the rest of the day. I didn't do too much. Splashed wall, spilt apples, broken window. But I saved the cross, as the cross will always be saved. It is at Westminster by now. I wonder why you didn't stop it with the donkey's whistle.
With the what?
No, I'm glad you never heard of the donkey's whistle. It's a foul thing. I'm sure you're too good a man for a whistler. I couldn't have countered it, even with the spots myself. I'm not strong enough in the legs.
What on earth are you talking about? How in the blazes do you know all these horrors?
Oh, by being a celibate simpleton, I suppose. Has it ever struck you that a man who does next to nothing but hear men's real sins is likely to know a bit about human evil? But, as a matter of fact, another part of my trade, too, made me sure that you weren't a priest.
What was that?
You attacked reason. It's bad theology.
Flambeau, you are under arrest.
Oh, Valentin. If it must be anyone, at least it is you. I bow to such a worthy opponent.
No, don't bow to me, mon ami. Let us both bow to our master.
Indeed, to Father Brown.
Sir,
You're bowing to no one.
What's that?
That little priest, he's already headed back to town.
That was The Mystery of the Blue Cross by G.K. Chesterton, adapted for audio by Grettelyn Darkey, directed by Grettelyn Darkey, assistant directed by John Wojtechko, and produced by Thomas Marinchak. The cast, in order of appearance, was Chris Paluzzi as Detective Valentin, John H. Walker as Father Brown, Scott Walton as Officer Hobbson, Paul Fox as the Barista, Ericka Lear as the Grocer, Sean Reilly as the Waiter, Shana Buck as the Postmistress, and John Kenyon as Flambeau. Foley and sound design by Joseph Adams and Jacob Gorsich. Original music composed by Grettelyn Darkey. A production of We Are One Body Audio Theater.